I started my business back in September of 2020, and this is my first year in 2023 where my business is profitable. So, if you're new here, my name is Indy. I am known as Studios by Indy on Instagram and TikTok. I feel like a lot of the times, especially with small businesses, we see highlights of them making hundreds and thousands of dollars, but we rarely see the profitability side of things and how much they make at the end of the day. And this is inclusive of how much they spend on their inventory, their product supplies, how much they're paying their workers, things of that sort. So I just wanted to be a little bit transparent today on what it is like to be a small business owner. I'll be sharing some of my numbers to illustrate realistically what a side hustle or a small business looks like as someone who is a part-time artist. And that's not to say that you can't be profitable right out of the gate, but this is for, the average Joe, those who don't necessarily have the biggest audience and this is not their full-time job. So for my first year, like I said, I started at the tail end of 2020 in September, so I really only had 3 months of selling and I made just about $200 just by selling strictly stickers, which, in my opinion, I think is a huge win, especially when you're just selling $2 stickers and maybe $5 sticker sheets. So I think in 3 months, $200 was like a big win for me at the time. During this time, I didn't have any marketing dollars because I didn't use Etsy ads or anything or any social media marketing besides my Instagram, which I organically get the followers into my Etsy shop. I also started cutting stickers by hand, so there wasn't really any big cost yet when I first started out. The only things that I purchased was, of course, a printer ink, sticker paper, things like that. So by the end of the year, I decided that I wanted to kind of legitimize this a little bit, make it more streamlined if I was going to sell more stickers. So I got a Silhouette Cameo, which is a sticker cutter so that I don't have to kill myself by cutting stickers by hand anymore. So after spending on that, which is a big chunk of my bank account and plus the supplies I bought prior to starting this business, I spent about $471 in total, which makes my profit negative 270. And like I said, I don't think it's that bad to be negative, especially given that I only had 3 months of selling. And when you're starting a business, you have to buy all these supplies to be successful or to have quality products. So I think had I had more time, more months to sell, I would have definitely been profitable that first year. Okay, so the second year in 2021, this is my first full year of selling, but it was also the first year in which I had a new job. I got a new job maybe towards the end of 2020, around like October, November, and started in December. So for majority of 2021, I feel like I was very invested in this new job and not really towards my business. So I didn't invest a lot of time into making stickers or new products until maybe towards the end of the year. I did see sales every quarter, but it was definitely a lower momentum than the first 3 months of 2020. So at the end of the year, I only made $262, which is quite sad because in 3 months of 2020, I was around 200 already, and it took me all year to just make $262. But again, to put it into perspective, I was only selling stickers at this point, able to sell these $2 stickers and make $200. So at the end of the day, I feel like I sold a decent amount of stickers to my standard. I think it was towards the end of 2021 where I got a creative itch to create more again. And I feel like a lot of artists and creatives get that, especially when they haven't been making art or drawing or doing anything artistic in a long time. So at the end of 2021, that's when I felt comfortable enough in my full-time job where I can put a little bit more energy into my small business. So I decided, I think around September, October, to create my first two pins ever. So I feel like that's where a bulk of my spendings came from, minus any restockings. So at the end of the year, I spent about $314, making my profit for that year -51, which is not that bad because, like I said, I didn't really spend much besides for the pins and some supplies, and then a lot of my profits came from the stickers. Okay, so in 2022, this was a year that was kind of crazy, and I was kind of hesitant on even sharing these numbers because the numbers are just so big to me. But this was the year of innovation for me. I made a bunch of new products to put in my shop. So for the first month of 2021, I decided to make my first keychains ever. It was the Hot Pot keychains, which I don't have anymore because I ended up not restocking on those and it sold out. And then I made some other keychains later in the year around August, September. It's my boba animal keychain, which is some of my top sellers. For those four keychains, I ended up buying them in small batches just to test it out since these are new items for me. Because I bought it in smaller batches, it was not as cost friendly as I would buy them today. But luckily, the boba animals sold out within a month or two, and then so I decided to buy a larger bulk for a discount because my thought process was one, they're best sellers, and two, I sold out around November, so I wanted to buy enough for me to bring it to the new year, just so that I didn't have to buy as much the following year. Other products that I included in my Etsy shop this year was my notepads. And then also I went a little crazy and created 11 new pins. Unfortunately, I spent it in 2022, but it actually didn't arrive until 2023. So unfortunately, the cost was inclusive in 2022 instead of 2023, which is fine, but the total amount with the new items plus restocking of other supplies like ink, it came out to be a whopping $2,200, making my profit -1,700. And yes, I did end up crying looking at that number because I've never been that negative up until this point. And the majority of the cost is from the pins because it's 11 new designs and it's about like 100 units each, so definitely cost a arm and a leg to get those. And I think even though the -1,700 does look kind of scary to look at. In my opinion, it's setting me up for the future because of all the new inventory that I'm bringing. And the future is here because now we're talking about 2023, this current year. Like I said, this year I kind of felt like I was set up in a very good position because of all the new inventory that I got, the new pins, the new keychain restocked. So I felt like I was in a very good position inventory wise. The only new items that I introduced to my shop this year were a bunch of new stickers. I started some greeting cards because I felt like this year I was like, I want to be a stationery shop, and what's screaming stationery more than greeting cards? So I wanted to round out my assortment with just that. And then, of course, some new keychains as well, just to add a few more since those boba animal ones did so well. So restocking of thank you cards, other supplies for my stickers, the total spent turned out to be $737. However, we did also really well in terms of sales this year. This is the first year where I was pretty cautious about my pricing, and then also I did a bunch of pop-ups this year, and luckily I was able to attend these pop-ups without any fees, and I was able to make a decent amount. Besides that, I also had some wholesale orders come through. So at the end of the day, sales totaled out to be 1,300 for the year, a profitability of 520. So it's definitely not a number that I would quit my job over, but it is a number that would pay a few months of groceries. So that is a big win for me, especially coming from the first few years of not being profitable. We have a long way to go, but I feel like with this $520 profitability, it's gonna be my new benchmark for the future years to come, because I feel like I'm gonna want to have to beat that number, and I want to continue to stay positive. And to do that, I think there's a bunch of things that I would want to do, and I would explain that in a different video. I think the point of this video was to show that, one, I think it's pretty normal to not be profitable your first or your second year or even your third year, because when you're starting a business, it's going to take some time to really build your brand, your inventory, and all your supplies. Like, you're not most likely not going to be profitable right off the bat, especially when you don't have an audience to back up your sales and they're going to want to purchase every single one of your launches. Two, your brand is going to change throughout the years, and so are your goals. For example, for me, I started off wanting to just sell stickers, and then 3 years later, I'm selling a bunch of other items like stickers, keychains, pins, greeting cards, you name it. So your brand and your store, they're gonna change, and that's okay. And lastly, I get back to the idea of it taking a while to be profitable. It also takes time for your business to feel successful on your terms. Even if your business flops that first year, just keep going, because you never know how your business is going to grow and evolve and be successful to you. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about my journey as a small business owner and seeing some realistic numbers to gauge off of if you're a small business owner or if you're wanting to start a business. Don't feel discouraged if you are not successful overnight, or if you're not profitable your first couple of years. It's totally normal, and just keep going. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel.